Okay, this is what we are going to do or design using SQLX views. I have sales by location and state. So within each state for all these locations, I can see the sales. Then here I see percent of total within this state. So for example, Bridgeport has 8.8% of total sales for state, right? Now, what I also want to show here is total here for all these location is around 3.7 million, and here I want to show percent of total, where this percent of total for all the sales for all the state, right? So for Connecticut makes around 10.5% of total sales for all the state, right? So if I scroll down, that's what I show for Georgia, Maryland, and so on, right? So this is a really good information about which state is contributing what percent of total sales, and then of course I can filter it by year and also by month, and this is dynamic. SQLX views honors all the filter as long as it's coming from the same flat view. Now let's design this. We'll create a SQL view and do exactly the same thing that we just saw. Now for this one, the business view that I'm using for this is this sales view, right? That's what I'm using in this dashboard, right? So now using SQLX view, I want to design what I just showed you here. So let's do that. Now here I'm going to use this view, right? This is a flat view, and if you look at this, if you look at the query plan, this is coming from multiple tables here. Okay, now let's cancel this. And now for SQLX view, this is just a table and all these are just columns here. Even if you have formula, it will just be a column for the SQLX view. To create a SQLX view, I can just click on new, add new view, and create via Spark SQL. First thing I always do is whenever I'm designing SQLX view is I aggregate the data from my sales view. So this is the business view I have, business scheme I have in, sales is the view. And I need to do this whole analysis by state, location, and sales. So I'm just aggregating this data here. All right. Now, once I've done this, I can now shape my data in a way, the way I want to use it in the dashboard. So let's do that. So instead of typing this whole view manually, I just paste it here. I already had created this earlier, right? So just to explain this to you, I'm using CTE. So I can write query over query here. This is my Q1. Q1 is used here. And this is just giving me total sales for the whole data set here, right? This total sales. And then Q2 is returning state and location, where I'm using total as a label to show total for each state. This will help me in calculating percent of total for each state. And this query is pretty simple, straightforward. In the end, I'm doing union of these two, because using union, I want to show the total for each state. It will become very clear when I show you the output of this in a dashboard where we'll design this, right? So let's call it SQLX total calculation, and let's save this. And now we are going to use this view that we just designed in this dashboard, right? So let's go ahead and add a new aggregate table here. And now let's use that view that we just designed. Okay, so let's make it aggregate table, and by state and by location, I want to see the sales, total sales, and let's bring in percent of total sales. Now you will notice here, the way I union this data, this total is showing you total sales for Connecticut, and then this is percent of total sales, around 10%, right? Now let's make this report look like what we saw earlier, right? I want to see total in the bottom here, and I also want to show some color so that total is separated from other rows. Let me remove total sales here. I don't need this. And then let me change this percent of total to format it correctly. And then a location, I want to sort it by sales here, so that total shows in the bottom here. All right, we are almost there. And let's also make it taller rounded. Now I want to use conditional formatting to show color in some other color, the total in some other color, so that it's much more visible, much more uh, you can distinguish from other rows, right? And for that, I'm going to use conditional formatting here. Let's add a formula here, and let's use this formula. If location is equal to total, return 1, else return 0. Let's save this and agree. Please remember to do this, otherwise you will have to add conditions again later on. If this is 1, let's make the text color as white and background color as red. And I'm going to use this formula again, so let's copy it in clipboard. Let's save this. Let's do the same thing for percent of total as well. Make this formula and then add condition equal to 1. There you go. So now I have total the way I want it to be shown. Let's save it now. Awesome. So I have this exactly the way I want to show it, right? Now if you want to filter it by say year and so on, so year is not there in the filter, I can always bring it in prompt filter. I can just drag and drop year as well as month. Let's click on save. And now if I filter by year, let's say I want to see this data only for 23. I can filter it by 2023, right? I also want to filter it by month. I can just select a particular month as well. Whole dashboard gets filtered. I can also filter it by state here. Let's select Florida and these as well, right? All right, so this is how you do this using SQL X views.